Hey there, welcome back to another video. This time it is a mini rant, and this time I'm talking about a topic that has me a little bit perturbed. Uh, and I am talking about the new Mutants. And there was a fairly new trailer for the film that premiered online a few days ago, and I got the chance to check it out, and looks intriguing, but I felt the same way about the original teaser trailer. But you can also tell that the tone is dramatically different. While the teaser trailer for the New Mutants, the original teaser trailer for the film when Fox was still doing it without Disney's influence, was very heavily inspired by a traditional horror film. In fact, the trailer didn't even really appear as if it was a superhero or Marvel movie or anything. Looked like it was a straight up horror film, and that really interested me. And I know it interested a lot of other people because it's something different. Oh, it's a X-Men kind of movie, but in a horror genre setting and with a horror tone. And in some aspects in this new trailer, it is still present, but in other aspects, it's really scrubbed away, and it's trying to be more of like, oh look, we're still Marvel, we're still superheroes, we're still about all about good, good versus evil. We don't in the same sort of editing that you see in all these other Marvel trailers. It's just one of those things where it just seemed like they're trying to be like, oh, we're still edgy and dark, but not too edgy and dark because we're not a horror movie. We're a comic book movie. Got to get those Avengers and MCU dollars rolling in. It definitely looked like a trailer that was re-edited for the MCU crowd, with a little bit of some horror stuff thrown in, but nothing really that intense. And that was a little bit disappointing to me. But that being said, I knew Disney was going to go that route. I knew if they were ever going to release this film, they were going to shoehorn it into their cookie cutter idea of what a superhero or a comic book film is supposed to be. I mean, it doesn't bode well when you got someone like Scott Derrickson who did Doctor Strange, and he has been attached to the sequel, the Multiverse of Madness. I think that's what it's called. And he had been attached to the sequel for Doctor Strange for years, and now he's left the film for what is rumored to be creative differences. Is it because he wanted to do a more of a darker horror take, and Disney was like, "Oh, we don't want that. We don't want that." But I thought that's originally what you were hiring me to do. I thought that was the original idea for the sequel was going to be a darker, more horror themed sequel to Doctor Strange. Yeah, we kind of like that, but we don't want it to be too dark. We don't want it to be too scary for the kids. And Scott Derrickson was then like, "Well, fuck you then. That's not what I signed up for." So I feel bad for Scott, and it just highlights a lot of issues that I have with Disney as of late. They aren't willing to work with their directors or their screenwriters that aren't yes men. If they have passion, if they want to do something their way, they aren't going to allow it if it doesn't fit into their particular parameters uh, of what they personally feel their product should be. And that's another thing that makes the fact that Disney is dominating the landscape in Hollywood right now so shitty and also a little scary, because you got a company that is not willing to work with people like Scott Derrickson because he's not a yes man. He was passionate about the project and probably wanted to do it do it differently. He wanted to have more of a darker edge to it. He wanted to have it be a really hard PG-13 and be scary. And Disney was probably like, "No, this is the MCU. This is a movie we're hinging a lot on because we're tying it in with all these other shows that we're putting on Disney Plus, so we can't have that. So it's just it's distressing. And the way that the New Mutants trailer is edited just reminds me of this kind of thing, that it just screams of Disney's meddling. And I personally believe that this film might not have been intended to be rated R from the start, but I have a strong suspicion and a strong feeling that there is a R-rated or harder edged horror centric cut of this film that exists or had existed before Disney got involved and bought Fox, and there were all these delays that happened with the project. And the reasons why I feel that way are as follows. So, when the trailer first came out, like I was saying earlier, it had more of a horror tone to it. It looked like it was a horror film. And that was intentional. That was intentional from the start by Fox. I remember reading things after, Deadpool and Deadpool 2 and the success of those films. Excuse me. Forgive me there. For some reason, my voice is dying. So anyway, I remember hearing things about Fox and what approach they were trying to have for some of their properties going forward. And they saw the success of Deadpool and Deadpool 2, and they were like, we want more films like that. We want more R-rated or more edgy, darker films in our X-Men universe. Then New Mutants was announced. The New Mutants trailer comes out. Has more of a horror look and feel and vibe to it. The producer, Simon Kinberg, actually comes out and says in a press release, in an interview with Steve Weintraub, he actually says this, and this is a real quote from all the way back in 2018, in October of 2018. This is from Simon Kinberg. He says, New Mutants, it's the kind of movie that could go R or it could be a hard PG-13. As I was saying before, in terms of subgenres of the genre, it is obviously teased as a horror film, and most horror films these days are R-rated, but it stars a very young cast, so we'll see. It really is what the movie wants to be. The studio is open to either rating. Traditionally, superhero movies are PG-13, other than Logan and the Deadpool movies, and generally horror films are R-rated. So we'll see where this one falls. It is a very scary, edgy movie. So, with this quote, the producer is very open about the potential, the possibility of an R-rated cut of the New Mutants. And it makes sense, because it ties into what they said they were going to try to do more of with the success of Deadpool and Logan. Why would they go back and do this PG-13 when they are really starting to get a ball rolling with these R-rated versions of their X-Men properties? They already have Dark Phoenix, which had gone through its reshoots, and all this other shit. It was never going to be rated R in the first place. Why would they pass up that that financial coffer, that extra bit of a financial boost that they would have gotten if the film was rated R? And if you keep track of all the rumors that have swirled around this production, that there were multiple reshoots, that there were disastrous test screenings, that one test screening went one way and then another went a completely different way, that there are different versions of this movie, And then also, if you look into the fact that this movie has taken forever to get released, it really does make you wonder why the delay, and also if this film did not need to have so much cuts and so many things that had to be removed or rearranged, why did it take so long to come out? I understand why people will want to immediately go to the side of Josh Boone and other people involved with the film that have recently come out and said that it was never intended to be rated R. Because Josh Boone just came out recently and said that. He replied to a fan on Instagram and he said, "This movie has always been and will always be PG-13. There was never a plan for an R-rated movie." I don't know about that. Also, Boone is not what you would call a director that Hollywood is breaking down the doors to hire him. He did Fault in Our Stars. He did an independent film before that. Even took him a while to even get a job like the New Mutants. Apparently, he's doing stuff with the new adaptation of The Stand. We'll see how he does with that. But this is not a director that people are really clamoring for. In today's day and age, especially in Hollywood, where Disney is dominant, where Disney is king, where Disney is the new overlord, the last thing you would want to do, even on an Instagram reply to a fan, is openly admit that there was another version of the movie. That, yes, there was a plan at one point to release the film as a R-rated movie. He's in the middle of an advertising blitz right now. Do you think he's really going to tell the honest truth if there really was an R-rated cut of this film? No. Not if he wants to maintain his credibility or his hireability in Hollywood. Not if he wants to keep a job. Because the closest way to the poorhouse and to getting no work in today's Hollywood is to do anything to upset Disney. Anything to rock the Disney boat. You rock the Disney boat, you're fucked. And he just got The Stand. He's getting more stuff. He's starting to get more roles. He's starting to get more directing jobs. And if he wants to keep those directing jobs coming in, he's going to say there was no R-rated cut. And here's another thing that makes me doubt this, because almost immediately after Boone has this response to a fan on Instagram, and all of this is, by the way, plastered all over every single movie news website known to man, like immediately, they have articles up saying it was not intended to be R, quoting Boone from this Instagram post. Then, pretty much seconds or a minute or really not that long at all later, maybe a day later at the most, one of the New Mutants artists who did art for the New Mutants comics, he comes out and he says, "It's a scary film at PG-13. The atmosphere, mystery, and tone of Josh's direction makes it work. The cast is stellar, not horror tropes who split from the group one by one like idiots only to get offed. They're a team united, forged by the horror. That's the new take." And it's like really, it's almost instantaneous, one after another, that you have like two people who were directly involved with New Mutants say, no, there was no R-rated version. It was PG-13. It was always intended to be that way. It just, to me, it just reeks of a cover-up, or it just reeks of like, why would you do that? Why is that necessary? Why, if it was not intended or there was no R-rated cut, why would you go out of your way to have one of the comic book artists, Bill Sienkiewicz, who worked on the original New Mutants, why would you have him come out and say that it's PG-13 Why would you also have Boone immediately respond to a fan and in a way that just seems pretty I don't know, a little bit defensive in some ways? It's just like the movie has always been and will always be PG-13. There was never a plan for an R-rated movie. I don't know. It just seems a little bit scripted to me or coached. Doesn't seem like a natural response. But maybe that's how it is with directors and stuff on social media. Maybe they're very uh, short and to the point. So, I could be looking a little bit too much into that. And then, of course, you have the fact that it's taken what 2 to 3 years to get this film out in theaters. If there was not a need for drastic cuts or drastic reshoots, then there is no reason for this to take this long to come out. There is zero reason whatsoever. Disney has all the money in the world. They could have just obtained whatever print it was, gotten it ready, and released it. And Fox would have had an incentive to get it out anyway, because hey, they're on their way out. They're getting bought by Disney. A lot of these people are on their way out the door. They would probably like to get one last bit of money before Disney takes over. So just something about this whole New Mutants thing just doesn't jive with me. I don't know about you. It just does not jive with me. The trailer and how it has a horror tone, but also is trying to be like an MCU movie. The one after another defenses of the PG-13 rating by two people involved with the New Mutants, and Disney's history with things, and just the extreme length of the delay for this film's release. It just doesn't compute to me. I don't buy it. It smells like bullshit to me that there was no or there is no R-rated cut or harder edged, darker edged version of this movie that exists or existed at some point. And the thing is, knowing Disney, we'll never see it. Even if it does exist, it will never see the light of day. Because Disney doesn't give a shit. They do not care. And if they did, they would not go out of their way to have all these people involved with the New Mutants comic franchise and the director come out and say, point blank, there never was a version. That was never the intent. Even though you have the producer in an interview around 2018 in October saying that it could go either way. If it was never intended from the first place to ever be R, why the hell is Simon Kinberg going around talking about how it could go either way? If that was never the intent in the first place, why do you have one of the producers of the film talking about how it could also be R-rated? And then all these rumors about reshoots pretty soon around that time that he's saying that, and rumors that there were reshoots after that. And rumors that the delays might have been associated with that. And then other rumors that I've heard that possibly there were delays because there was an R-rated cut. It didn't test well, and that led to more reshoots. And then by that time, Disney had taken over, and Fox ran out of time to get it out in theaters with the PG-13 version, and they were shit out of luck. And then you have Disney who comes in now, and then they release a new trailer, and now it has a release date. And you really think Josh Boone is gonna try to rock that Disney boat if there was another cut of this movie? No, he's not gonna do that because his film is gonna get a theatrical release now, and it's gonna be backed by the juggernaut that is Disney and Marvel. So there's no way that he's gonna rock the boat if there was another cut of the film. And we'll probably never know the truth. We'll never know for sure whether or not there was another cut of the film or multiple cuts of the movie, because there's no way in hell Disney's going to let us know about that or is going to show us any of that. If they were, they wouldn't be so adamant about saying it never existed. So I just thought it was an interesting topic to cover. Would like to know your thoughts on this as well. Do you buy into and believe what Boone is saying, or what Disney is trying to offer as an explanation, or do you also kind of think things are a little bit fishy here? What do you think the possibility is of there being a darker, harder edged horror cut of the New Mutants, with possibly an R rating? I would like to know, definitely would like to hear your thoughts on that. And yeah, as always, thank you for watching, and thank you for your cooperation, and have a nice day.